Raoul Amundsen, the first man to stand at the South Pole, told a young U.S. Navy commander, "The airplane alone can triumph in Antarctica." In 1928, that young officer, Richard E. Byrd, set out to prove the great Norwegian's prophecy when he led the first large American expedition to the Antarctic. Byrd intended an important role for the airplane. His Ford trimotor, named the Floyd Bennett, was one of the largest and most proven planes of its day. From the beginning, it was a struggle. The party labored to bring its fragile machine to shelter and safety. The elements were a constant threat, but the men protected the Floyd Bennett as best they could, and the plane survived. In November 1929, the Floyd Bennett was ready for flight. From the base camp at Little America, Byrd planned to fly over the South Pole. He intended to photo map his route with a specially adapted aerial camera. After months of arduous preparation and planning, he was ready for the most significant test of the airplane in Antarctica. On November 29th, Byrd took off from the comparative security of Little America. The anxious party at the base camp followed his progress by radio. The plane performed correctly. Everything went well. In the cramped interior, spirits were high. Success was imminent. It was an historic moment. The Floyd Bennett at 90 degrees south. The South Pole. Byrd dropped the United States flag at the exact spot. It was an ambition achieved and a dream realized. The pole flight was a success. The future of aviation in the Antarctic was assured, and in the history of exploration, there was another entry. His exploit marked the beginning of great progress in Antarctica and signaled the end of the long and tortuous treks of the dog teams. It meant the end of a dramatic and heroic era. Man and his hardy animals pitted against the great white continent. Man had wings to lift him above the white mass. The airplane would set Antarctica in perspective. In the 1930s, Byrd returned to the White Continent with other aircraft, but it was apparent that the airplane was far from secure. During these years, several airplanes were battered and wrecked as Antarctica resisted intrusion. The pole flight was a breakthrough, but by no means a conquest.